Hey, this is Angelica, and we have another episode of the Next One Up podcast. Today's guest is my very good friend, Mr. Derek Harvey. He is class of 2005. Whoop, whoop. Class of 2005. I've known Derek, I think we was in the same kindergarten class, weren't we? I think we were in kindergarten together. So I've known Derek since kindergarten.
That picture's floating around here somewhere.
Yes. So I appreciate him being on. Derek, I appreciate you coming on for this episode. How you been doing?
I've been doing great. Staying busy like ever. People think, during the coronavirus, you ain't doing much.
Right.
But I'm busy still.
Me too. I feel like I'm a little bit busier than I mean, it's a different kind of busy, especially now because I find myself being overwhelmed because there are so many convenient ways to do things now, like especially a lot of like webinars and like Zoom meetings and this, that, and the third. So now everybody thinks that everybody got time to do stuff they're trying to have all these different meetings. It's like, oh my God, I cannot keep up. I can't keep up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely understand. I feel like, some days I gotta take a step away. I can't do that today. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. But okay, let's start from the beginning. When did your sports journey begin, and what sports did you play?
Oh man, when did my journey begin? I think my journey began before I remember. My mom, she showed me a picture of me when I was a toddler, maybe 3 or 4 years old. I had a football pajama set on, right? Had a football pajama set. It had varsity on it. So I think my love for sports came before I really can remember. But I really started playing football and t-ball. That was my first 2 sports playing that I can remember. I don't remember basketball like that until I got much older. But football and t-ball.
Now, what inspired you to start playing sports?
I think it was family. I think it was really family inspired me to play sports because I got athletes in my family that all love sports. But we didn't really have a TV at home, so I didn't really watch it on TV. So I just think it was family. And then me being so active as a kid, so rough, climbing on everything, trying to pick up everything. For a minute, that I thought they were going to call me Bam Bam because they said I used to pick up everything. I thought I was just so strong. So I think, my mama, she wanted to do some with all that energy. So she kind of started us in sports. And, the moment she put us in, you couldn't take me out. No more. I was just locked. I was stuck.
Yeah.
Now, that's why I fell in love.
Who were some of your sports influences? I know you say you have a lot of family who play, but who are some of your sports influences? It don't have to be family, but who are some people that inspire you to really continue to play?
At a younger age, like I said, family, kind of inspired me. But one of my cousins, Corey Malloy, he kind of was like a beginning inspiration for me. But as I started going to school and start watching more TV, I started looking at players, and it's a funny story how the people, I won't say person because I have more than one, that I found to inspire me, began to inspire me. We used to have little playing cards that we used to try to collect. Everybody used to try to collect the most cards. So I collected a lot of cards, and the people, I collected Barry Sanders and Jim Brown, mainly because, Jim Brown was just so strong and used to run through everybody. And Barry Sanders, he was good. But eventually I started looking at sports, and I started looking at sports cards. Most kids, they look at the sports card and they look at the stats, which player is the best player. But I was different. I didn't do it like that. I was like, okay, who is what players have my birthday. Like I was looking on the back of the cars, and I was like, what players have my birthday? And that's kind of how I picked my, the people who really inspired me, which is Ray Lewis and Emmitt Smith. Both of them have birthdays on May 15th. And
Oh wow.
one of them is a linebacker and the other is a running back. And those are the two positions that I played for a long time until I got to college. And then Brian Dawkins, I started watching the Philadelphia Eagles. Then John Lynch from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I started, liking them, but I really fell in love with Brian Dawkins because he just had so much passion and so much enthusiasm, and he used to fly around the field. But that's who really inspired me along the way. Really, he was the man.
That's very interesting. A very interesting approach. I was there, and I've never heard somebody say that the people that they like really paid attention to was based on their birthday. That's a new one, Derek. I never heard of that one before.
That's how I did it.
But I mean, it was two great players. I mean, Emmitt Smith and Ray Lewis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that, not too bad of, people to really look up to, had very, very, very big careers. So that's, thankfully, it worked out. You looked up to the right people, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing now? Well, actually, let's take me through your evolution of playing like middle school, high school, and then playing in college.
Okay, so my evolution, how can I start? So, like I said, I started out playing football and t-ball. I love baseball. I used to love baseball. Played it in, parks of recreation in middle school, but I didn't play it in high school or anything. But football, that's the one I stuck with. I was too nervous to play basketball because, it was a small amount of players and it seemed more isolated. I don't know what it was, but I was a little bit more nervous about playing basketball than football and baseball. But, basically football, which is my love. Football was for a long time, football was everything. Eat, sleep, breathe football. So from middle school, being short, being stubby, it was always tough. It wasn't tough. The sport wasn't tough, but it was tough to gain the respect of coaches and players because I was always short and small. So I had to always prove myself. Constantly proving myself. So funny, as small as I was, middle school, I played defensive line. My 7th grade year, I played defensive line, and I was like, I think now, how in the world you get to defensive line? I probably like maybe 4'2", 4'5" in middle school. So how did I get defensive line? But I guess because I was just gritty and I was, feisty. So they were like, okay, he can get out of it. He's small, can't put him nowhere else. Let's just let him go somewhere and just hit somebody. So I started off on this defensive line, and I kind of wanted to play running back because that's what I played in Parks and Rec. But I stayed with defense, and then my 8th grade year, I kind of did both. I did running back and defense, but then I moved to linebacker like Ray Lewis, and I played running back like Emmitt Smith. Middle school was fun. I think I was the only 7th grader to start defense in middle school. If you go back and you ask some of my classmates and the classmates that was above us, that's 2004, we had a tough middle school team.
We did.
Them 8th graders was real tough, and I was the only 7th grader to start. So I was pumped about that. Just fast forward on to high school, I was always pretty good. I wasn't the most athletic person on the field, or I wasn't always the fastest, but I was always among the fastest, and I was in the top 2 strongest because I was a little strong joker, like I said earlier. But moving on to high school, I still kept my reputation of being a hard hitter, being smart on the field. So freshman year, he had one of the funniest coaches, Coach Calendar. That man was crazy. But I'm gonna kind of veer off a little bit, but I'm gonna stay on track. But I was always a good kid. Never really get in trouble. But my freshman year in high school, I ended up getting kicked off the team. Like, yes, nobody knows except for the players that was on the team. So I ended up getting kicked off the team because, the team got in trouble for doing something. So we were doing up downs in practice, and I was tired of doing the up downs. So I said something to the coach, and he asked me what I said, so I repeated it. But he didn't believe that's what I said. He thought I said something else. so so he kicked me off the team. He said, "Go take my stuff off." Man, so I walked off the field first and last time I ever got in trouble like that on the football field. But I got kicked off the team, and one of the assistant coaches, he came and he talked to me. He said, "You just got to apologize, man." So I went and apologized. And man, that was funny.
What, did he let you back on the team?
He let because he really didn't have no choice.
That's what I'm about to say now, Coach Cat. Really?
He really didn't have no choice because I wanted the better players on the team. But so I played JV. JV was good. I end up moving up to the varsity team at the end of the JV season. Me and two other players got moved up, which was pretty fun. But I did get pushed around with the upperclassmen. They tried to push me around, and there again, I got placed on the defensive line. Like, even in high school, I got placed on the defensive line, which was funny. But we had fun. I had fun that those 2 games on varsity as a sophomore. So I had a little chip on my shoulder. I was a little pumped.
Right.
So as bragging rights to my classmates. So varsity and JV, I ended up starting both. I always started. Only time I didn't start was when I moved up to varsity my sophomore year. So when I got moved, when 11th grade, 12th grade came, I started, had some good coaches. But the one downfall from all those coaches was the head coach. He was a good guy. Yeah, Coach Bryant. Yeah, he was a good guy to talk to. Off the field, not about football, maybe about playing video games, college sports, college video games. But as far as a coach that kind of have your back, if you wasn't like his favorite athlete, then it was hard because out of my class and the class before me, it wasn't that many people who got scholarships to play football. And which was surprising because, man, this question we probably get to.
We had some tough football players.
Yes. I mean, we had some good players, and I think our class of 04, maybe 3 players got scholarship, 3 or 4 players got scholarship, and out of class 2005, it was one player who got a scholarship.
Wow.
And it wasn't me. It wasn't me. So I was kind of salty about that, because he really didn't help us out. One of my DB coaches, my senior year, can't remember his name, but short white guy.
Who was the DB coach?
Yeah, he was a short white guy. I cannot remember his name. Saved my life. But he was real cool. He ended up helping me make a little sports film so I can send to the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't get no scholarship. So end up going to Central. Eagles, baby, Eagles. So I ended up going to Central, walking on my sophomore year in the class.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I walked on. They didn't play my freshman year, which I was kind of upset about, but it is what it is because my plans I had big plans. My plan was to go to a small college and then play 1 year, play my first year, and transfer to Oklahoma. I don't know why Oklahoma, because I fell in love with Oklahoma. So I wanted to transfer to Oklahoma. So, had fun time in Central. Walked on my sophomore year. in spring ball. Out of all the classes, I won. I won the starting position. So I was starting as a freshman on the field, so I won the class. But and I was one of two players again who actually made a team who tried out from people who walked on. So that was pretty cool. So it was a roller coaster. I can keep talking for days.
Well,
It was a roller coaster.
tell me more about your college career. So did you end up playing, you walked on at the end of freshman year and spring semester, and then you played up until, like, you played all through your college career?
Yeah, I played 4 years of college. I ended up staying an extra semester to finish out school and to play my senior season. So I wanted to start position and I walked on. So another funny story. So we got back after the summertime because I didn't stay up there. I came back to Rayford because I was came back home. They had nowhere to stay. They didn't have no money. So came back to Rayford. Worked out while I was here. Got back up there. And we had to stay in a specific place, specific dorm. Had curfew. Had to be up at a certain time in the morning. And the coaches came around and checked your room. So as a freshman, hazing is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a thing about shaving your head bald. Either you had to get your head shaved bald or you had to get your eyebrows cut
Oh
off. And I was a sophomore in class. I was like, I ain't no freshman. You ain't cutting my hair. No, or are you cutting my eyebrows? No. So, thing was going around, we're going to get there. We're going to get them. And I was just growing braids because I couldn't grow braids in high school. So I just started growing my braids. So one night the coaches came around to do curfew checks, and I had the room to myself because the guy who was supposed to be staying with me, he didn't ever make it to summer camp. So coaches came and knocked on my door. And I was like, nah, I ain't answering. That's them seniors. Because they had came around early and knocking on the door playing. So I never answered the door. Woke up the next morning, went to our meeting, ended up getting in trouble. So I ended up losing my start position. Ended up losing my start position. I think it's because of a little favoritism, but I ended up losing my starting position because I didn't answer my door for curfew.
Wow.
So that was pretty tough. But of course, I was still small, so I had to fight. Freshman year, sophomore year. I think I had 3 different coaches, my 3 different defensive back coaches, the 4 years I was there. So
wow.
I had to prove myself to the coaches over and over. And eventually, I won my starting position back, but that was like 3 or 4 years later, because we went through coaches changes. And when the new coaches come in, they got their favorite player who they recruiting, who they want to see, and then I was short. So I end up getting more playing time at the end of the year. Then he get fired or he quit, and then I got to do the same thing over again. So my last 2 years, we had the same coach. So I ended up winning my starting position back. And we, I didn't mention that my freshman year on the field, we did win that national championship. So
I was about to say, I thought that, one of those years y'all won the whole thing.
We actually won it 2 years back to back, which was my freshman year in class, the year I didn't play, and then my sophomore year in the class, which year was my freshman year in the field. So that year we won that ring, and that class that I played on, we got inducted into the Hall of Fame, North Carolina Central Hall of Fame, for life of being the best team in Central.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. That's so cool. So y'all must have been bad if y'all they inducted y'all into a Hall of Fame. That not like a normally, like, people have to wait a while before, and then that team gets honored, but y'all got honored immediately. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. I think it was maybe 5 years later they inducted us.
Okay.
But it was pretty dope. I mean, we was good. We didn't lose no games. The only game that we lost was the game that put us out of we won the Black College National Championship, but the game that kind of boosted us up into like the national championship for Division II. But yeah, we was tough, man. We had a bad. Our defense was bad, and I'm proud to say that I was part of it. I'm part of that defense.
So what were some challenges that you faced, during your sports journey, and how did you overcome them?
Okay. So the one challenge, that I have echoed through, this interview, was being my size. I never was a tall guy. So that was always, something I had to fight through, no matter what sport, no matter what year I was, no matter how old I was, I had to always fight through the size challenge. And then I developed, the small dog syndrome. Like, when I see a giant, I want to take that giant down because, I've been not just turned down, but I've been, put to the side. Like, now you really not that good. And I had to prove myself. And I'm not saying that, you don't have to prove yourself, but, I had to prove myself whenever I've already proven myself, to the coach over and over again. And, that was my biggest challenge is size, even in college. But then my senior year, the challenge that actually my freshman year, I pulled my hamstring when we was in Baton Rouge, down in Louisiana, playing. Who we playing? Grambling.
I was about to say Grambling.
It wasn't Grambling. Crap. Man, I'll think about it later. But we down in Baton Rouge playing, and I ended up pulling my hamstring right at the beginning of the second half on kickoff. Running on kickoff, heard it pop, pulled my hamstring. So, and that flight back was terrible. And then my senior year, I sprained my MCL, and I think it was a scrimmage game at the beginning of the season. One of my teammates, we were both going out after the running back to tackle him. He dove on both of us, sprained my MCL. So I was out for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And it was brutal. Had to do rehab. It was real bad. But it taught me something, because, it actually helped me out a lot with leadership qualities, because a lot of my teammates, they looked up to me, especially the DBs, because I was, pretty much like a captain, a DB in my senior year. So they looked up to me because I was smart. I was a smart player. I studied playbook. I knew playbook like the back of my hand. So they come to me, asking, what we're supposed to do here, what we're supposed to do there. So sitting out, it taught me a lot about leadership. You're not only a leader off the field, but on the field, but you're a leader off the field. So you have to get the players together before practice, and we used to work out, do little drills, and it helped them a lot, and it actually helped me a lot mentally, because I was devastated that I couldn't play, because it was only my freshman year when I pulled my hamstring, and at a time in high school I sprained my Achilles that I failed to mention. That was the only time that I had to miss a game, whether it was a scrimmage game or whether it was actually a game. So it taught me a lot. But then one of my coaches, he actually got mad at me because I was pulling the players together and we was going through drills. He was like, "Harvey, you ain't no coach. You ain't no coach." And I'm like, I'm not trying to be no coach. I'm just trying to be a leader to
that you were trying to take over.
Yeah. So he was mad because he wasn't doing them little drills. So
right, you was out doing him. It sounds like.
Yeah. So he was mad. He was mad. And then there's one other challenge, that I had to face. It was my exit interview my senior year, which I think was devastating for me. because I went to my exit interview, and my coach. Now, mind you,
Now wait, what's the exit interview before you continue?
so exit interview is pretty much like your senior year or your last year playing, and then you just go in with your coach, and he talk about you know how things were during the season, and try to help you out in the future. What's your goals for the future? What do you plan to do? To kind of get you prepared if you want to go to the draft. Try to mentally get you prepared for that, and talk you through it, and just stuff like that, similar to a job exit interview. Um, so he told me the one thing out of everything that he told me in the interview, um, I remember that he told me that I wasn't good enough to play in the NFL. Yeah, and sad to say, he was a black coach. He was a black coach. And I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. Born a Christian. I mean, not just a Christian. I'm a disciple of the Lord, disciple of Jesus. So I've always been a Christian, and he claimed to be a Christian. And he told me that, and it crushed me. It crushed me because I had a motto, I can't be stopped. I won't be stopped. Can't nobody stop me, and I can't even stop myself. And once he told me that, it kind of crushed me. It tried to I try to stay motivated because I'm gonna prove him wrong. I'm gonna prove him wrong. But after I left there, every time I went and worked out, every time I thought about the draft, I could hear it playing in my head.
Was that an aspiration of yours to play in the NFL?
My God, yes. From time I could talk, I said I'm playing in the NFL. I'm playing in the NFL. Nobody was gonna stop me from playing in the NFL. That's why I overcame everything until that conversation, until that, that hurt me.
Wow. Well, yeah. So, how did it affect you going forward? Like, how did you pull through that? Like, how were you able to finally, I guess, not let it affect you in any of the other things that did you just let it stop you when it came, or not even stop you, but let it deter you when it came to sports, or did it affect your other parts of your life?
So it hit me hard. So after I left his office, I said, you know what? I'm gonna prove him wrong. So I started working out, because we had the combine coming up, or pro day is what they call it. Pro day coming up, and I think it was March of the next year, and the exit interview was like November, December. So I left there. I graduated college, came home, came back to Rayford, worked out, trained. But then, so when the combine came around, I was doing good. I did real good. I was doing good. Inside drills. You go in the inside. When I say inside, I mean lifting weights, the bench press, the vertical jump, the broad jump. Test your explosiveness, all that good stuff. I was doing great. I was, top of my, my position. And I even had a New England Patriots coach come up to me and scout come up to me and like, man, you're doing a really good job, man. Keep it up. So I was pumped. I was pumped again. I was saying in my head, yep, I'm gonna prove him wrong. So when we got out to the 40, when we did the 40-yard dash and the L drill, I didn't bring proper shoes with me. I actually had on some track spikes.
Oh goodness.
At that time I was just like, I just want to be light. So I had on track spikes. We had brand new turf field, so it wasn't a good combination. I should just wore my cleats. So I slipped on both of my L drills and my 40s because of them doggone track spikes. But and I didn't get a good time. My 40 time wasn't good, or my L time wasn't good. So I kind of when I found out, that my times were good. The only thing I could think about, I wasn't good enough to play. So from that moment, I didn't go to another combine. My homeboy asked me, "You want to go to NC State combine?" I was like, nope. So from that day, I stopped watching football on TV in person for 3 years.
Wow.
For 3 years. Fell into a state of depression. Um, I was done, like hurt to my core. Man, it was crazy, man. I feel like I want to get emotional just sitting here.
Oh, goodness.
But it hurt to my core. But through that, I didn't want to get too ahead of myself, but through that, I birthed a business. That's when I came up with the last time. That's when I came up with the last time, man. I fought my way out of that depression, went to my first high school football game, probably 2011. I graduated 2009, so 2010, 2012. So went to my first high school football game in 2012. Stopped back watching football on TV, and started my business. And it was geared towards not just sports but life itself. So that's kind of what happened.
Well, tell me a little bit more about your business.
So the last time fitness, the last time it started off as a clothing line, and it was rough. I got a design. It was rough getting it up out the ground. Started off as a clothing line, but the idea behind it was, clothing line, training, teaching, mentoring, and a lot of different things just kind of falling under that umbrella that I could do as a business. So I started off with the clothing line, and it didn't do as well as I wanted to. So I kind of moved from clothing line to fitness, and I started training people, and then I started doing sportswear. I'm like, okay, I'm doing fitness, so I can do sportswear. So I started doing sportswear. I put my logo on sportswear, on like some sports shirts, and I wore them around. But then I was like, shoot, I need something. I was working out one day, and all of a sudden, I said, progress 0 to 100. I'm like, what? Progress 0, and as you can see on the shirt, it says progress 0 to 100. And I heard this guy ET. He was like, in one of his speeches, he was like, said something along the lines, it's not about how you start, but it's about how you finish. But he quoted it different. But from that, I pulled, it's not about how you start, but it's about how you finish. Progress 0 to 100. So that's pretty much my punchline. And I put it on the shirt, and man, everything else is in the wind.
So you're now doing fitness classes and personal training and stuff. So you what do you pull? How do you pull from your sports past when it comes to being a trainer?
What I pulled from it, I try not to kill. I won't say kill. I don't say kill on camera. I try not to overwork. I try not to overwork my class in my class, but I just pull that drive and that don't quit mentality, that you can do it. Like my old saying, I haven't said it in a while, but nobody can stop me. I can't even stop myself. I can't be stopped. I won't be stopped. Can't nobody stop me, and I can't even stop myself. Mentality to fitness, like everybody can do it at their own level. Everybody can do it. If you put your mind to it, everybody can go get it. And that's how I push all my clients. No matter whether they're young, no matter whether they're small, no matter whether they're big, old, it don't matter, because everybody has their path. And on that path, they may start with 0, but I let them know you may be at 0 today. Whenever you finish, you can get to 100. But it's progress, and that's where the progress 0 to 100 shirt came from. The idea, hey, you may start with 0, but you can get to 100. You can get to 100. You just got to push. You just can't quit.
So with that, what are three characteristics that you think make an athlete great? And I'm imagining that's that's what you try to, impress into your clients. So what are the 3 characteristics that you think make an athlete great?
Three characteristics that I feel that make an athlete great. One is dedication. You got to be dedicated. And if you're not dedicated, I don't care how much you want it, you ain't going to get it. I don't care how much you want it, you ain't going to get it. I don't care how good you are, you ain't going to get it. You got to be dedicated. And two, I kind of wrote them down, but it's embedded in me. Two, you have to have love for the game. You have to love what you do. If you're dedicated to something, then it's almost natural to have that love, because if you don't love it, you're not going to be dedicated. So love and dedication kind of fall into one, but you have to have love for the game. And I love football. I had so much love for the game, and that's why I think it. I couldn't watch it for 3 years because I had so much love for it. I couldn't bear to see others playing. And then the last one, have to have willpower. You have to have willpower because in every sport, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be somebody who don't believe you, like it with me. And you have to will yourself through some stuff. You have to will yourself. I mean, just per will. Whenever you have nothing left in you, it have to be your will to push through it. So love, dedication, love for the game, and willpower. That's my 3 characteristics that make a great athlete. Because you don't have to be fast. You don't have to be the best athlete. But if you're dedicated, you can learn it. You can become good. You have love for it, and you can conquer everything. If you got the willpower, you ain't gonna let nothing stop you.
I like those. Now, what do you think it means, or what does it mean to you to be an athlete from Hope County?
Ooh, athlete from Hope County. In general, I feel like great athletes come from small towns. Hope County is a small town, and being from Hope County and being an athlete, I rep that to the full because I feel like great athletes come from small towns, and Hope County is a very small town. I mean, not now, we're growing a lot, but where I'm from, they're like, "Where you from?" I said, Hope County. I'm like, Hope County, I ain't never, it's by Fayetteville or Fort Bragg. Oh, so you from Fayetteville? Nah, I'm from Hope County. So, you just have that chip on your shoulder because you play against schools like Richmond County. You play against 71st, Richmond County. Everybody know Richmond County. Everybody know Fayetteville. And you play against them type of schools, and people know them, but they don't know Hope County. So it puts a chip on your shoulder. Like you want to show them, look, I'm from a small town called Hope County, and hey, we got the best athletes.
What do you, with that, we're all often underestimated, but why do you think that is? What makes us so different from other athletes?
I think one of the reasons why we underestimated, there's a couple reasons. I can't pinpoint one, but there's a couple reasons. Reasons why I think we're underestimated is because we're small. We're a small town, and a lot of people don't hear about us. And so when people don't hear about you, they automatically think, okay, I ain't worried about them. I ain't never heard of them. If y'all were good, then we would know about you. So I think that's one of the reasons why we're underestimated, because we're a small town. The other reason why I think we're underestimated is because, how can I put this? Because I don't want to offend nobody, but I think a lot of times the people that are in the position to get their athletes exposure don't do what they're supposed to do.
Mm.
Like coaches, they don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't promote the athlete. Now I'm glad we got the coach for Hope County like we have now. With him coming from A&T, which I don't approve of, but just playing. Great coach. He says to me at all the conversation that we had, our conversation that we had, that he want to bring people in to see these kids, so that they can know what Hope County got. Because in the past, I don't think the coaches, put their players out there to be known. And that's my biggest thing.
Do you think that the coaches didn't really see in our players what we saw in ourselves? Or was it just more or less they were like lazy or just didn't, or they didn't have maybe the tools or what, I mean, or that thought, that perspective to say, I want to help my kids go further? Like did they have like a small town mentality themselves? Why do you think that is?
Well, one of the first things you said, they didn't believe. They didn't. I don't think that some of them believe in their players. And just from thinking about whenever I was playing, I don't think they believe that a lot of their players can play on the next level. So they didn't believe like we believe. They didn't. They didn't think that we was good enough. I think. Why? I don't know. I can't speak for them. But me having the experience of playing college football and seeing some of the athletes that I played against and with, it was no doubt in my mind that Hope County athletes could contend. No doubt, no doubt in my mind. Because I played with some guys who, sorry, they wasn't good. I hate to say it like that, but they wasn't good. How they got there, I think if they coach made it seem as if they were better than what they were. I love all the guys I played with, but compared to some of the guys that I played with in high school, Oak County got good athletes. Oak County got good athletes. So I think that, some of them may not have the tools, but you have other people around you. Like, because in order to become a head coach, like, you have to have experience. You have to have experience from somewhere, whether you play in college, whether you play or whether you rode the bench, or you have to have some experience somewhere. So whether you got a little bit of tools or a lot of tools, you can put your players out there. And I can say for a fact that my head coach didn't put me out there, and as well as some other players that should have been put out there.
And I wonder how that, well, not even wonder, but as we see how it affects us when we transition out of high school to what our future could be. What people's aspirations or what they end up sometimes doing as careers. Like, if they would have had somebody to really believe in them, they could have been a little bit more, done more, or seen more, been able to experience more than what they have. And that's the it's about learning those lessons to try to be better. I mean, and I agree with you. That's why I'm very encouraged when it comes to our current coach now, Coach Miles, because he knows what it's like to get to the next level. He's coached at the next level, and he knows what he looks for in players, but he also knows what it takes to get your players to the next level. You know what I mean? So he has a little bit of a different insight because he's been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? And this is home for him. So In his mind, he wants to see the best for our kids. When some people are just out to get a job, they're out to have a job and that's it. So I'm encouraged of where we're going. And for like the next generation, the younger kids and the experience and stuff that they get to partake in that, like we didn't necessarily get to partake in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You said something that was very, very key. This is home for him,
Mm-hmm.
and he want the kids to have some experiences like he had. He want the kids to be able to get to the next level like he did. And I can't say that the coaches we had in the past wanted the kids to get to the next level. I think they wanted it for their bragging rights now.
Mm.
It wasn't about the kids. It was more so about their career. It was
Mm-hmm.
another job.
Mm-hmm.
So they were trying to build their resume. Now, I won't say that all the coaches that we had was like that, because I can definitely point out a few coaches that, that cared about the players. But, like assistant coaches and position coaches. But like you said, not really caring about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that a lot of the coaches that we had in the past cared about the kids. At least not the ones I had.
Mm-hmm.
Cared about us enough to want to get us to the next level. Because I can honestly say I don't remember the coaches talking about, do you want to go to the next level? I don't remember a coach ever asking me, do I want to go to college? Except for two coaches. That was Coach Elson Blue, God rest his soul, one of my mentors, and my DB coach my senior year, and I cannot remember his name. I think there was the only
name. You gotta find out his name.
I can't remember his name, but they were the only two coaches who I think ever asked me, do I want to play college football?
Mm-hmm.
Which is terrible. I mean, they may have talked about, like other coaches may have talked about, yeah, y'all think y'all want to go to the NFL? Y'all want to do this? Y'all do this? But personally, ask you about what college you want to go to, or do you want to go play college football? I think they're only two.
Wow.
Only two, which is very sad.
Yeah. Very sad. Well, so what do you consider your best sports moment or memory?
Oh man, best sports memory. I mean, I got a lot of them. I guess my best sports memory will probably be whenever we were playing against North Carolina Central's ultimate rivals. We were playing against. That was a good game. I think we played in Charlotte.
But you ain't say who the rival was.
Oh, A&T, North Carolina A&T.
Okay, look, it might be something they don't know. They don't know.
My bad. I thought I said it. North Carolina A&T, those hams. But and actually, what's crazy is that was the first school I applied for to go to college to. Was North Carolina A&T. Me and one of my homegirls, Shannon Hill, we applied at the same time to go to A&T. They misplaced both of our applications, so they told us to refile them. And she got accepted, but I didn't never do mine again. I was like, they didn't see the first one, so I ain't applying the second time. But at the same time, Central, they accepted me, so I ended up going to Central. So that moment, it was I think the fourth quarter in the game, and it was a close game. One of my other homeboys, he had a pick six during that game. But it was a fourth quarter, a key possession. They was trying to go down and score, and we was in cover two. I remember like it was yesterday. We was in cover two, and I was on closer to our sideline. The quarterback dropped back, 7-step drop, and I had two receivers on my side. One receiver, he did a post, which is a slant route, to the field goal post. That's what they call it, post. He did a post, and then the other one did like an out route. I was in my back pedal, backing up, and quarterback. I was saying in my head, he better not throw this ball. I see it. I said he better not throw it. So he threw the ball, picked that thing off, grabbed it, took off running. I think I ran for about 40 yards and got tackled. But I think that was my best moment.
Now, was that during the Aggie Eagle Classic?
That was an Aggie Eagle Classic game, and that interception sealed the game.
Oh, so we won.
yeah. So we won. It sealed the game. I was happy about. I mean, it was another play like the next drive. It was similar, but at this time I batted the ball down, so we got a turnover. But I think that was a pivotal point in the game. That was my best moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I had some other good moments. But that was my best moment.
Okay. So we're going to get ready to wrap up. But my last question is, what's one piece of advice that you would give to a young athlete in Hoke County?
A young athlete in Hoke County, I tell them all the time, you got to put in the work, and you have to work harder than the next person. You have to work harder than the next man. And the next man not being somebody who you go to school with. The next man is somebody across the country, because it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. And I tell athletes all the time, like you have to be willing to put in all the work. Because if you ain't gonna put in the work, if you're not gonna put in the work, then you're not gonna make it. Because there's a lot of great athletes in Hoke County that's still in Hoke County, never left Hoke County because they wasn't willing to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to put some other stuff aside. You got to put a lot of other stuff aside and put in the work. That's my number one advice that I give to an athlete from Hope County.
Well, what does that look like, though?
What is it? That looks like getting up early. Getting up early in the morning. It looks like staying late. That looks like being dedicated whenever nobody else is dedicated. Whenever, your teammates don't want to work hard, you got to be dedicated. I won an award while I was at Central. It was called Mr. All Day, Every Day. And that award was for the spring sports. Spring sports, you got indoor track, you got football, not spring sports, fall sports. You got indoor track, you got football, you got what's some other sports? Volleyball, I think volleyball,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple other sports. But I beat out all the fall sports for this trophy. The hardest worker out of all of the fall sports. And I tell them, that's look like you every single day, no matter how you feel, you got to go get it. You got to want it better than the next man. You got to train. That's what it looks like. Literally putting your body in position to get better every single day.
Well, thank you, Derek. I appreciate you participating in this episode. And what's some ways that people can get in touch with you, especially if they want help as far as fitness is concerned?
Oh man, yeah. So you're welcome, by the way. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure. I could talk all day to the sun, to the cows come home, to the cows come home. But you can get in touch with me through my email, which is Derek Harvey DEREKHARVEY dot T as in Tom, L as in Lucy, T as in Tom at gmail.com. Also on Facebook, Derek Harvey on Facebook, and my business page on Facebook, The Last Time, and my Instagram page is called The Last Time. Now, be careful because that The Last Time is spelled TH3, LASTTIM3. So don't get confused with the E's for the threes.
The E for threes. Well, thank you again, Derek, and hopefully we'll be, well, not even hopefully, I know we'll be seeing you do great things, especially as far as your business and fitness is concerned. You're actually one of the fitness instructors for Park and Recreation right now, right?
Yep.
So if anybody wants to take a class with Derek, I'm a living witness. You get a good workout.
She got that word.
He actually was my mother. Well, before COVID happened, was my mother's trainer and helped her lose a good amount of weight and firm up. And she loves Derek. She loves her some Derek. So I think she's pretty happy that I was like, oh yeah, my classmate does classes. You should try him. Because she was not for it at first, but I'm glad she went through it. Because you need, like, think about like where she started from and, you know, seeing her grow and, you know, really start to get fit and get her endurance up. And my mom's in her 60s. So if that tells you, you know, he works with a good age range of people. So, you know, you're never too old and you're never too young to get in shape. So, but thank you again. And this has been a really good episode. Y'all make sure to hit us up on social media platforms, The Next One Up Podcast, and we'll see you next time.